Thank you, Hildegarde, and I would like to thank the deputies for contributing to this debate this evening. I fully understand and I appreciate the level of concern raised by all the deputies here this evening regarding connectivity to our regions, the pressure that those in the aviation sector are under, and the impact on all of those who have lost their jobs. And I can assure all of those involved in the sector that government is fully committed to helping the sector to get back on its feet. There will be no cliff edge in the horizontal supports that have been available from the start of the pandemic to this industry, and government will continue to monitor and review the direct supports to the airports and any further supports that may be considered necessary, as we've acknowledged in the economic recovery plan. I recognise also the importance of providing clarity on the extent and the duration of the supports beyond 2021, and in this context government will continue to monitor and consider what further supports may be needed to help all regional airports, including Shannon and Cork, as part of the upcoming estimates process. A recent report from the Central Bank on COVID-19 and the public finances in Ireland outlined that the fiscal support package introduced in Ireland was large in a euro area context, with the increase in primary government spending in Ireland the second highest in the euro area in the first 3 quarters of last year. The report found that the fiscal measures introduced have mitigated the impact of the pandemic on households, firms and the broader economy. This supports the government's policy of providing horizontal financial supports with the view to mitigating the impact of the pandemic on the broader economy. Government is confident that this strategy will facilitate a speedy recovery of all sectors, including aviation, as soon as restrictions are lifted. As I mentioned earlier, the programme for government acknowledges the value of aviation in supporting economic development, international connectivity and tourism via our airports, and getting international travel back up and running is vital for the continued economic well-being of this country, and will continue to be a priority for me and this government. I hear what deputies have said in relation to antigen testing, and as I said in my opening statement, myself and Minister Ryan will continue to engage at every level across government to ensure that all options in relation to testing are considered, which strike the right balance between protecting public health and protecting our economy. And we'll continue to be guided by the Department of Health and NPHET in relation to COVID-19 testing and how it might be used in settings, including in relation to international travel. I can assure deputies that government is committed to supporting the regions and regional connectivity, and that's why we've moved quickly to seek to reinstate these lost services to Donegal, and I share the concerns of deputies here and to Kerry, as well as committing to renewing the PSO services on these routes under a new contract for up to a further 4 years. The funding which has been made available to these airports in 2021 is a clear indication of the importance that government attaches to airports being well positioned to weather the current crisis for the recovery and growth into the future. And it's worth noting that the capital funding of €0.9 million to Donegal Airport, €2.2 million to Knock Airport and €1.7 million to Kerry Airport, which I announced on the 19th of April under the Regional Airports Programme, represented funding of 100% of all eligible projects submitted by airports this year. In addition, I've asked airports to give further consideration to projects with a sustainability focus, which would help expedite airports' efforts to reduce emissions in line with the goal to move towards carbon neutrality. These additional projects submitted are currently being evaluated by my department. I'm fully aware of the devastating impact of COVID-19 on Shannon Airport. Like all airports in Ireland and around the world, the importance of the Midwest region of having strategic routes from Shannon Airport to London Heathrow, a European hub airport, and to the US. Prior to the pandemic, Shannon Group was delivering on its commercial mandate, improving profitability and recording strong growth in its commercial property company. While the impact of COVID-19 left Shannon Group in a very vulnerable position, the general COVID-19 related supports put in place by government and the specific government supports targeted at Shannon Airport, which total some €30 million in 2020 and 2021, should serve to secure the position of the group and aid its recovery. In a positive development, I can advise deputies that Ryanair resumed scheduled air services in Shannon Airport on the 1st of June. Flights operating include to the UK, Poland, Lithuania and Spain. Shannon Airport has also advised me that Ryanair services from the airport will increase from July. Regarding the restoration of other routes and the introduction of new air services, I understand that Shannon to London Heathrow route operated by Aer Lingus is expected to be back in September. I also understand Aer Lingus have indicated their intent to come back on transatlantic routes and that Shannon Airport are working hard to get their transatlantic routes back. Regarding the appointment of a new chair to the Shannon Group, a selection process is underway by the Public Appointment Service. PASS is expected to bring forward a shortlist of suitable candidates to Minister Ryan for his consideration shortly, and the appointment will be made as soon as possible thereafter. The Programme for Government Commitment seeks to ensure that local development plans are developed to stimulate economic activity for those areas that were expecting economic development arising from new fossil fuel infrastructure. And as part of this, consider the potential of the Shannon Estuary in terms of regional economic development across transport and logistics, manufacturing, renewable energy and tourism, and develop a strategy to achieve this potential with support from the Exchequer. The Taoiseach will make an announcement on this programme for government commitment to establish a Shannon Estuary task force over the coming weeks. I acknowledge that the anticipated closure of the airport in Cork from the 12th of September to the 22nd of November this year will be very disruptive for many in the Cork region. However, taking a range of factors into consideration, Cork Airport decided that the optimal approach for completing this project would be to close the airport for 10 weeks rather than restricting works to nighttime hours only, which would push out the project's delivery timescale to 9 months. The airport have engaged extensively with airline customers and stakeholders on this issue, and the vast majority of those stakeholders were in support of the airport's approach. Delivering the runway project over the shorter time period is safer in both construction and aeronautical terms, will have the lowest impacts on passengers and airlines, and is the most cost-effective option when compared with the alternative nighttime closure option. The runway upgrade is a complex and large project that also involves a full renewal of all the airside electrical systems. Given the costs involved, the project falls within the scope of the Public Spending Code. And given the detailed procurement process involved for an infrastructure project of this scale and the requirements under the Public Spending Code, it would not be feasible to bring this project forward any earlier than is currently planned. And finally, while I know that this sector has greatly suffered and is continuing to be impacted by COVID-19, I am optimistic that the aviation sector can and will bounce back and will help to drive Ireland's economic recovery and facilitate our return to growth as restrictions are gradually eased in the coming weeks. Thank you.